The political class, members of the civil society and traditional rulers say no to all moves that jeopardize Cameroon's cherished peace. They strongly condemn all requests for public manifestations. The coronavirus pandemic still ravages in Cameroon. In spite of the over 94% rate of recoveries, government warns neglecting COVID-19 preventive measures could lead to an upsurge and the loss of lives. Foot and the Professional Football League are enjoined to respect the verdict of the Court of Arbitration for Sports, reinstating the league. Sanity and serenity in the country's football should be priorities. Good evening and thanks for joining us. Those are the headlines of the 7:30 News.
Each of us must comply with the measures that have been taken.
The recent calls for insurrection by members of some political parties and of the civil society have been strongly condemned by political pundits. They express indignation over the requests, which translate intentions to destabilize state institutions and plunge the country into chaos. Ebenezer Akanga talked to some members of the political class and the civil society. This is what he gathered.
There is total indignation and condemnation by the political class and civil society in Yaoundé of the call for insurrection by a political party leader. To the political class, using insurrection to get to power is totally unacceptable in modern-day democratic society.
This is primitive method. If you want to have the power, you have to pass through election. This is democracy.
It's completely crazy because you shouldn't be going to the palace through violence, through insurrection, through uprising.
The civil society does not only strongly condemn the diabolic plan, but it is mobilizing to make the plan fail.
We are in this meeting to say no to destabilization, no to insurrection.
Call on our fellow youth to stand aloof from all attempts at insurrection and the destabilization of our country.
Both the political class and civil society in Yaoundé therefore call on Cameroonians not to take part in an insurrection that would destabilize state institutions and plunge the country into chaos.
If you want to go to the power, you go to election. We are in the republic, and just one man or a group of people cannot take their own way of seeing the republic and impose it to the other Cameroonians.
As one member of the civil society put it, the preoccupation of Cameroonians is their welfare, not risking their lives in insurrections.
In the littoral region, commercial motorbike riders say they will not be manipulated into disrespecting the sovereignty of the states. They disassociate themselves from all announced public manifestations and vow to stand for the legitimate ruler of the nation. Their memorandum of commitment has been handed over to the senior divisional officer for Vuri, Benjamin Buto. Alphonse Abongwe reports from the littoral.
Laissez le Cameroun en paix et laissez les mototaxis en paix.
The commercial bike sector in Douala, the most vibrant in the country, forms a formidable bloc against any party planning to take to the streets from Tuesday, September 22. They turned out in their numbers this Thursday afternoon at the Vuri SDO's office to declare their non-alignment to the planned protest.
We stand behind the government to protect and to generate and promote peace.
It's not by going out or not by marching that will be the solution.
The bike riders come from all 6 subdivisions that make up the Vuri and pledge to stand by the Republican institutions. To them, national interest surpasses all personal gains, and political leaders who desire to destabilize Cameroon through their sector should be prepared for frustration because they are not available. The administrative authority has called on them to be vigilant and refuse to be provoked by those planning the uprising. The bike riders have handed a jointly signed memorandum to the SDO and the governor of the Littoral region in support of the government and the President of the Republic.
Traditional rulers of Fundi division in the Centre region have also joined their voices to condemn acts of insurrection. In a declaration today, they outlined that they and their subjects will not be part of moves that will compromise the peace of the country. The Vice President of the Fundi Traditional Rulers Association, Abega Zenge Joseph, now reveals the contents of the declaration signed in Yaoundé. Take a listen.
We traditional rulers of Fundi, we disagree with the message that is going on to destabilize our nice country. We ask our population to continue going to work and that disorder will not come through on Fundi. We vehemently disagree with all those leaders who are asking for disobedience.
On to some decisions taken after the major national dialogue, the newly created National School of Local Administration has been described as a cornerstone in the fast-tracking of the decentralization process in Cameroon. The institution is expected to reinforce local developments and to provide opportunities for decentralized collectivities to participate fully in their progress. Fem Bonui Ayise tells us more from the institution's headquarters in Boya.
The National School of Local Administration, NASLA, with headquarters in Boya, is a specialized school for local development. The creation of NASLA, therefore, is expected to play a vital role in the ongoing decentralization process.
I think that the school is the cornerstone of a successful decentralization process. Now we have the possibility of training people and putting them at a local level to exercise the competencies or to manage the resources that are coming.
Considered as one of the fruits of the major national dialogue, the school is set to play an important role in the resolution of the ongoing crisis in the northwest and southwest regions.
The creation of the school becomes also not only a cornerstone for effective decentralization, but also a key component in the resolving of the present socio-political crisis, if we agree that a desire for greater autonomy was a contributory factor, as a national dialogue seems to have said.
Following the appointment of managerial staff, the school is now poised to receive its first batch of students in the months ahead.
On to this good news. Cameroon will soon have a new system of producing biometric passports. A partnership agreement to this effect has just been signed between the General Delegation for National Security and a German consortium. Gilbert Ongene reports that when the centers for the personalized biometric passports will go operational, it will be possible to obtain a passport within 48 hours.
The signing of this partnership agreement between the Delegate General for National Security, Martin Bargangele, and the CEO of INCM Consortium sets the ball rolling for work to start on the production of a new and secured biometric passport in Cameroon.
Who will immediately start the work and be ready for March 2021 to issue the first passports.
Speed, security, and authenticity are the watchwords as the consortium braces to start work in the days ahead.
The blank passports will be produced in our factory in Lisbon, in Portugal, in the state printer of Portugal. And then they will be dispatched here at the personalization center in Yaoundé, where the pictures and the biographic data will be included in the passports, and they will be ready to be issued.
Thanks to the fruitful and sustained traditional ties between Cameroon and the Federal Republic of Germany, Cameroonians will in the near future benefit from a secured biometric passport produced within the shortest time possible.
On to health news. Government has made a positive evaluation of the COVID-19 response strategy that has led to over 18,000 recoveries. During a joint press conference granted by the Minister of Communication, the Delegate General for National Security, and representatives of the Ministries of Health and Decentralization, the population was encouraged to intensify the respect of barrier measures to keep the virus completely at bay. Ebenezer Akanga has details of the assessment 6 months after the outbreak of the pandemic in Cameroon.
It should be indicated that the pandemic remains a major concern for the government of the Republic. Needless to remind that the coronavirus is still present in our country. The government also avails itself of this communication to appeal to the civic mindfulness of our fellow citizens with regard to both strict compliance with the recommendations of the World Health Organization and strict observance of the main barrier measures prescribed by the government, such as the systematic wearing of masks in public places and social distancing.
Government spokesperson there, René Manuel Sadi, evaluating the progress of COVID-19 in Cameroon. A good number of Cameroonians have proved that they are educated enough to respect COVID-19 preventive prescriptions which protect them and the society. The wearing of face masks in public places, observing physical distancing, and the constant use of hydroalcoholic gels have been a routine for many citizens. Emmanuel Anvenu reports that this show of consideration for others is also visible in sensitization messages.
Disinfection portal in full force, spraying to kill all germs carried to it by users. Call it the coronavirus spyglass. Barrier measures must remain under check in public administrations.
I continue wearing my mask because I am afraid to contract the coronavirus. The coronavirus is not finished.
Commercial centers are hard on those neglecting the rule. It is either one complies or retreats.
No entry without mask is not possible. I don't like to take any risk. Problem is not finished in the world.
On the streets of Yaoundé, conscious citizens still stick to gestures that save.
I have to respect it until the virus completely goes away. I'm in the public, but I don't know who has it. If I don't wear my mask, I might contract it from somebody who has it.
Coronavirus is a reality, so I need to wear my mask to protect myself from it because I know that it is real. I've been wearing it all along.
For those who have gone astray, sensitization messages for a change of attitude do not lack, if only they would consider.
The number of COVID-19 infections in the country has surpassed the 20,000 margin, and in spite of the over 94% rate of recoveries, it is critical that the population watches out for an upsurge. Calls for more vigilance and responsible behavior to be part of the solution to the coronavirus abound daily. Beatrice Law Samba now looks at what Cameroonians should do to avoid the re-emergence of the virus in some parts of the country.
The signs are all over the streets. The indifference displayed with respect to barrier measures against COVID-19.
It is not normal that we are in a country where we live the reality of this disease and we just ignore the measures. Counting on what? People need to keep wearing masks, washing hands, keep distancing measures. It costs us nothing to respect barrier measures as we go on with life.
Medical experts say giving a deaf ear to calls for vigilance is unwise. The world has just experienced a second surge in the disease, with the WHO reporting the highest number of cases in a single day worldwide, and Cameroon is not exempted from world trends.
Elsewhere, we are having a resurge. We interact with people from these countries. Some of them are infected. Others have even died. How can we think we have defeated coronavirus?
It takes a while for this message to sink, but buying the idea that coronavirus has come to stay is advised, and people are urged to adopt permanent lifestyles that will keep the virus at bay.
In our Thursday of the regions, we talk about traders in Meyo, Bibulu and Mengikon border markets in Olamze subdivision of the South region who have seen their activities drop drastically as the borders remain closed due to the coronavirus. They are calling on local authorities to put in place measures to enable customers access the markets while ensuring that COVID-19 preventive measures are respected to the letter. Clarence Azay visited both markets and filed in the following report for the 7:30 News.
Traders at the Meyo Bibulu border market lamenting their fate as their businesses are at the brink of collapse.
This market was created to enable us feed our families. Now we are suffering. All we ask is that the borders be reopened and that customers return to the market.
It is the same situation in Mingikum, another market situated just 500 meters from the border with Equatorial Guinea. Some businesses have folded up, while some traders continue to frequent the market between Monday and Thursday just to make ends meet.
We are coming here just to come and see, play, draft, or Lido. A bit of customer enter, we enter, and at least what we came here to say, we cannot realize enough.
Many have been trading in Mingikum for decades now and have nowhere else to go to. With the coronavirus pandemic almost defeated in Cameroon, their hope is that the borders will soon be reopened and that their businesses be rescued.
In spite of the gloomy economic atmosphere in Mayo, Bimbulu and Mingikum border markets, most traders, as you just watched, continue to show up. Some say they have no alternative and others are hopeful that things will soon return to normal with the eventual reopening of the borders. Details in this report.
The Mayo Bimbulu border market in Olamze subdivision unusually scanty. Idle traders say business has slowed down, partly due to the closure of the border with the Equatorial Guinea as a coronavirus barrier measure.
The price paid, like they say, entry fee into this market is a little bit higher. And we all know it discourages some of the Guineans not to come here.
Same atmosphere at the Mingikum border market, where Equatorial Guinean customers use bush trucks to frequent the market.
I'm selling radio. Yeah, this is my shop, as you can see. I'm selling but here, but now that Corona is outside, everything is tough now. So we cannot say. Things are very tough and the border is blocked.
In next door QC, business has also witnessed a drastic nosedive, obliging traders to seek greener pasture in Mingikum.
We left QC to come and try here. All is closed in QC, and with the school reopening that is coming soon, we are obliged to hustle elsewhere.
Be it in Mingikum or in Mayo Bimbulu, traders pray that the borders reopen and that local authorities facilitate the entry of Equatorial Guinean customers so that both markets witness a remake of their heydays.
Scene 4 of our running series on the Made in Cameroon brand takes us on a discovery of 2 locally produced plants that have gained international repute. The white pepper of Penja is not only consumed locally, it constitutes a major input of the country's imports. Soya bean production equally stands at above 35,000 tons annually. Iwane Pole presents a state of local production and processing of these seeds.
Cameroon imports tons of soya beans yearly. According to officials of the soya beans processing industry, by increasing production capacities, the country would be able to stop soya importation in the coming 10 years. Presently, half of local companies' soya needs, which stands at over 35,000 tons, are provided by the local market. The companies produces 25,000 tons of soya meal yearly, while the country's needs is estimated to be 50,000 tons. Supraicam, one of Cameroon's soya beans processing company, supports more than 13,000 producers. Meanwhile, the production of white pepper, a spice highly sought worldwide for its unique taste, has reached 300 tons. The Penja pepper, which gets its name from the town in the littoral region where it is grown, is attracting more and more farmers as the price of this spice has skyrocketed from 8,000 CFA francs to 14,000 CFA francs per kilogram. In its effort to promote made in Cameroon goods, the government has put in place measures to assist processing industries in the country.
The wearing of face masks in public places will be mandatory until further notice.
At exactly 7:50 p.m., there is a close similarity between the symptoms of malaria and that of the coronavirus. When infected by either, patients get a fever, headaches, loss of taste or smell, and even bouts of tiredness. These signs of illness leave the population confused about what exactly they are suffering from. In reality, there are some differences, such as difficulty in breathing. These and more constitute the exchange between Baldwin Sama and his guest, Dr. Dorothy Achu at the Public Health Emergency Operations Center. Hello, Baldwin.
Good evening to you, Esther Kima, and welcome. Figures we just received from our public health experts here at this Emergency Operations Center revealed to us that so far in Cameroon, we have 20,371 Cameroonians who have been tested positive for COVID-19. 19,124 Cameroonians have recovered from COVID-19, leaving us with a recovery rate that stands at 93.8%. So far, we have 831 active cases, persons living with the virus in the 10 different regions of the country, with 416 Cameroonians who have died of COVID-19. Tonight, we look at, as you rightly said, Esther, the similarities and differences between two killer diseases in Cameroon, malaria on the one hand and COVID-19 on the other, with our guest, Dr. Dorothy Achu, who is the permanent secretary of the National Malaria Control Program in Cameroon. Good evening, Doctor.
Good evening, Mr. Sama.
Tell us, Doctor, what are these differences in terms of symptoms between malaria and COVID-19?
Thank you very much. Maybe we recall the similarities because that is where we come from. They have fever. Fevers are common in both diseases, tiredness, headaches, and body pains, common in both diseases. But we have to look out for those things that we have to think of COVID-19, which is, first of all, the cough, which is the respiratory symptom. And then we have catarrh for some people, sore throat. And then when it becomes a bit severe, we have now shortness of breath and then loss of taste and smell. But as you know, this disease is more severe in adults, I mean the COVID-19, while malaria is more severe in children. And the real way to know the difference is by doing a test. We can test for malaria, we have rapid tests, and we can also test for COVID, we have rapid tests to make the difference between the two.
And what can be improved in terms of fighting against malaria in Cameroon during this COVID-19 context?
We have been very keen on continuing service delivery, adjusting the strategies like the BedNet campaign and the seasonal malaria chemo prevention campaign, which we changed the approach to be door-to-door while respecting strictly the barrier measures. And then we support health facilities to continue the supply of health commodities that they can use for patients, as well as providing them with protective material equipment so that they are comfortable and the patients as well are comfortable to receive care from these health providers.
And finally, Doctor, has the fight against COVID-19 affected the fight against malaria in the country presently?
To an extent, yes. We had delay in the BedNet campaign. We have just caught up recently. We have disruptions in the supply of malaria commodities. But generally, it's good to say the cases have not really dropped, even though in some big hospitals we had reduced attendance, especially in Yaoundé and Douala, where the pandemic was highest.
Thank you so much, Dr. Dorothy Achu. She is the permanent secretary for the National Malaria Control Program in Cameroon. Just to remind our viewers that we have 20,371 Cameroonians tested positive for COVID-19. 19,124 Cameroonians have recovered, with a recovery rate that stands at 93.8% so far, with 831 active cases of COVID-19 existing in the 10 different regions of the country. 416 Cameroonians have died of COVID-19. Back to you, Esther Kima.
Thanks very much, Baldwin Sama, for those updates. Malaria and COVID-19 have similar symptoms. And to know what you're suffering from, simply get tested. In our in-depth report tonight, we scoop out the television choices of Cameroonians today. Satellite television is fast becoming a preference as it provides a wide range of local and international content. With as much as 25,000 CFA francs, millions of households can access hundreds of television channels, dishing out their desired news and entertainment material. Constantine Baum investigates on this new trend in the audiovisual landscape of the country.
The need for HD is rising in sub-Saharan Africa, with a growing demand for HD content, specifically in pay TV. This is coupled with a rise in the affordability of equipment such as televisions and set-top boxes. Following a study conducted by Utelsa on November 13, 2018, 0.9 million, that is 18% of Cameroon's households, are HD TV equipped.
I sell Canal Plus and GDSat. With GDSat, you just need to buy and we install if you can't do it yourself. With GDSat, it is free to air. There are about 150 channels. It depends on positioning. There is the position for African channels and the European channel.
Many distributors have flooded the audiovisual landscape in Cameroon. They can be identified through their satellite dishes as they come in various colors, catering for a wide variety of taste.
The buckets start from 3,000, 5,000, 13,500, 15,900. 15,900 is the bucket with digital and canal.
The trend towards satellite TV in Cameroon is thanks to Utelsa's 16-degree position neighborhood pool that reaches a total of 940,000 households.
In education, preparations are heightening ahead of the 2020-2021 school year in the Ministry of Basic Education. During a meeting in Yaoundé today, the Minister of Basic Education, Professor Laurent Serge Etundingwa, underscored the need for qualitative and quantitative services rendered and the protection of pupils and their instructors against the coronavirus pandemic. Cynthia Saptala tells us more.
In a matter of weeks, officials say about 6 million pupils all over the territory will be heading to their classrooms with the current pandemic. At the consultation meeting of officials from the Ministry of Basic Education, the objective was to identify possible measures that ensure a COVID-free environment for all.
We will face the challenge of 6 million students. That means that we have very heavy needs in terms of material that will allow us to follow the barriers, measures, and respect them. The responsibility of the families and alongside the government.
Other issues tabled at the meeting was the 2019-2020 school year report from pedagogic, administrative, and financial perspectives.
As the new school year approaches, the founder of the Cameroon Book Show, Ferdinand Nana Payong, is working towards making textbooks accessible. He was received in audience today by the Director General of CRTV, Charles Dongo, to present the project known as the One-Stop Shop concept. Both publishers, distributors and parents will meet on a single point for a common purpose. Here's an excerpt of his interview on the raison d'être of the fair.
No bookshop is able to have all the books of the Anglophone or Francophone system. The solution is to find out how to make what we call a one-stop shop, to give the opportunity to every actor of the book, of the school book, to be there, and to allow the parents who want to buy a book to have it at the same place. We are going to begin this next week on the 26th of August.
26th of September, he meant. Into sports. Officials of Fika Foods and the Football Professional League have been challenged to respect the verdict of the Court of Arbitration for Sports, which reinstates the league. The Minister of Sports and Physical Education, Professor Narcis Monekombi, made the appeal today during a meeting where he reiterated that the Professional Football League is the lone competent body to organize local football championships in the country. Baldwin Sama reports.
It looked more like an appeasement consultation between the Cameroon Professional Football League and the Football Federation, with Sports and Physical Education Minister Professor Narcis Monekombi playing the role of peacemaker.
Le gouvernement a pris.
I wish to inform you that the government of Cameroon acknowledges receipt of this decision from the Court of Arbitration of Sports, which, as per FIFA rules, must be respected and implemented by the different member associations.
Observé par ces associations membres.
He called on both parties to be involved for things to return to normal while respecting the decisions of the Court of Arbitration for Sports and avoid tarnishing the country's image. They will have to work together for the different championships to resume and for the country's flag bearers in different CAF competitions to excel. To the Cameroon Professional Football League, he called on them to ensure continuity and find the right strategy to organize professional football championships and ensure the away leg be played before mid-December this year. Fecafoot was called upon to continue accompanying in the smooth organization of professional football championships in Cameroon under the auspices of the Cameroon Professional Football League, while involving all stakeholders in the organization and practice of football in Cameroon.
And that will be all for this edition of the 7:30 News. It was a pleasure being with you. At 8:30 p.m., you'll be in the company of Romeo Trise. Ben and Boomagana will be yours tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. I'll be back next weekend, God willing. Thanks for watching and stay tuned to our programs on CRTV. Good night.
In this connection, we should avoid stigmatizing